What is going on out there, peeps? All right, let's go over a couple things because I can always tell when something is done on other people's YouTube channels, and it like a wave of stuff comes over on the post. And I keep telling you guys, you just got to be careful. Okay, and we're gonna go over that here in a second because I want to point some things out to you. All right. So what's going on over in Iraq? We'll get that in just a second. You guys should be considering buying this as some precious metals. Right now is on a dip. This is doing exactly what I said it would. Right before it actually dropped down, I released a video on a Sunday telling you that according to these, uh, when you watch these historians, I like listening to them. You know what I mean? They watch, they study trends, but not just the trends of a graph, but they also pay attention to the history. And so right now is a good time to buy because we're on a dip, and there's plenty of people who believe that gold and silver is getting ready to super slingshot up. So if you're thinking about it and you've been procrastinating, right now is probably a good time. Watch cheaper because after this, it's not going to be cheap. So give our friends over there at Money Metals Exchange a consideration. The link is in the description. If you buy more than $100 worth of precious metals, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free half ounce of silver. We got Pimpy's investment chat over here, same name as the YouTube channel. Over here, we do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currency investments. No politics. Bring that over to here. The hidden things in front of your eyes. You can talk about politics here, QAnon, NESARA, GESARA, current events, false flag events, 9/11, chemtrails, the whole 9 yards. Just be respectful of one another. If you don't have Facebook but you got Twitter, come join me over here on Twitter. The link is in the description. And even if you do have Facebook but you don't have Twitter, maybe you might want to think about coming over here because they are closing groups down in large numbers. All right, so I'm going to kind of go over a little bit quickly what's going on in the news because not a lot's going on there. You know what I mean? They are talking, it's the same for the most part, that they're in financial hardship, that they need to get some things accomplished to, save Iraq. There's a lot of concerns about, Iraq's financial situation over the especially this next year. Now, there's a lot of speculation about what the resolution is to this problem. And the resolution for a lot of us is just increase your purchasing power. And we think that's what they're going to do in the reform papers. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Again, I got to keep you grounded. We know that part of the reform papers, they're talking about the exchange rate. We know this. They said so. But they didn't tell us what they're talking about. So all anybody could do is speculate. We did see the papers from the IMF that one time, that they had a list of things that they wanted to see Iraq do. And on the very top of that list was decrease the rate, not the value of the dinar, but decrease the exchange rate, which is good for us. Not decrease the value of the dinar, which is bad for us. So both those things look positive, but again, stay grounded. So anyways, the bank's on holiday. They send memos to their employees telling them when to come back to work, which is just funny. You would have thought that they would already know that before they go out the door. I must be wrong on that because we see this all the time. The Central Bank of Iraq announced decision in light of financial distress. So basically what this is talking about is when they give out real estate loans to the lending banks, they gave out about 5 trillion dinars. And that was to be paid back within 10 years. But what they have done is they retroactive. What they did was extend it out to 15. So by extending out to 5 more years, this allows the length of time. Obviously, so there's no stress to try to get it there within 10 years, but also it should be lowering their monthly payments because they stretch it out over that length of time. So the Central Bank of Iraq is doing its part to help alleviate a lot of stress in the financial situations of Iraq. A senior American delegation is discussing with Barzani the implications. God, it's like the third time I said that. the implications of the attacks against diplomatic missions in Iraq. So again, you guys know I talk about this. I go and I read on Stars and Stripes, but yesterday they took out a couple of good-sized pockets of ISIS fighters. Now, it's not so much that we're fighting against an army of people. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're fighting against, you know, terrorist groups, good-sized pockets of them. But here's the thing. It's the ideology that you have to fight. And that's harder to beat. All right? Because as much as you wipe out the soldiers, they'll continue to show up. Only because the people teaching them the ideology will continue to radicalize these people. So you have to find a way to combat that. And that's what's most important. So Kurdistan is talking to the United States because they don't want the embassies to be closed down. Not just theirs, but there's other countries talking about closing theirs down as well. So they're trying to prove to the United States that, look, we're doing everything we can. We're getting things done. It's happening quickly. Don't close, because it will affect a lot of different things happening to the economies over there in Iraq. This would be a major step backwards for Iraq. So we don't want to see that to happen. But they go on to talk about what they need to do to secure the missions, to secure themselves from ISIS, to make sure that, the regions are secure, getting ready for early elections, making sure that they do what they need to do to, just isolate the threat of ISIS. So all the same stuff is being talked about. So the good thing is there is no date that's been set to close the embassy. So I'm not sure that they're going to close it so far. As you guys know, the employees are finally getting their money for the month of September. It has now been, they've been given a right to go ahead and release the monies. That's a good thing. This right here is talking about millions of eyes are looking towards this next Saturday session. What they're talking about is they've already came up with the districts for early voting, the voting districts. So that's what this article is talking about. They're going to see what happens when they go into committee and see how they vote on what they need to do for early elections. Okay, so that's what's going on. Al-Qadimi, Iraq is going through a bad financial situation, and he reveals the reasons why. So look at Al-Qadimi had a meeting with the emir of Kurdistan, the Islamic group, and the two of them were going back and forth. And the emir told Qadimi, look, you bear heavy responsibilities and the burdens on your shoulders in a difficult stage. And we hope that you will succeed in serving the components in Iraq without discrimination. And what Al-Qadimi is saying is, look, our country has been suffering for years, decades actually, from corruption, rampant corruption. He says right here, Iraq is going through a bad financial situation as a result of rampant corruption in not just recent years, for many years. We are responsible for reform. And we have put steps towards this goals, and we seek to look at all citizens with one eye. I'm not sure what that means, but so here's my thing. The finance minister came out, and I told you guys that he says since 2003, $203 billion have been stolen. That's U.S. dollars, not dinars, have been stolen from Iraq due to all the corruption. And he said it as clear as day. Look, that's enough money to rebuild a couple of nations. That's a lot of money. But we also know that a lot of senior people have been removed and replaced by Al-Qadimi. We also know that major steps are being taken within the systems and how information is being shared and reported, which is important. All right? So this way they could install a new updated technology so they can keep better track of things and make it less easy for corruption to take place, is what we're watching. All right. So for the most part, that's a lot of what's going on. Most of this is repetitive. This is big right here. Burning the headquarters of Badr and Al-Hekma in NESARA. So against the backdrop. So what happened was, you remember Sadr was one of the ones coming out speaking against some of these groups, and it looks like some of these people burned down their headquarters is what it is. So I'm not sure what that means, but the civil defense teams managed to extinguish the fires and are currently conducting cooling operations without only material human losses. So good, that's fine and dandy. But this is, again, you have different factions within, or different tribes within Iraq. They bicker with one another, they fight. Okay? And as you guys know, again, they're still trying to, Al-Qademi sitting here meeting with Matthew Toller from the United States, and they're trying to develop their relationship and make it even stronger between Iraq and America. It's necessary. Okay, so let me get into two other things real quick. A lot of you guys keep asking me about buying Iraqi Dinar, Vietnam Dong, and I'm not sure if you guys are watching the videos all the way. I keep telling you that one of the places to buy is over here at the UK Dinar FX. The link is in the description, all right, you guys? You can buy your Iraqi Dinar, the Vietnam Dong, Zim dollars if you want, and even the Indonesia Rupiah, all right? So they're here. You have the link to them. So if you want to buy, come here and buy some of the Iraqi Dinar. Buy it here, okay? And also, they're nice enough that they offer you a discount code. So use discount code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and it will take some money off your order. Now let's get into, again, you guys hear something. I keep hearing this all the time about these codes and 800 numbers and redemption centers and back screens. And no matter how many times I tell you guys, look, you have to take everything in a dinar community with a grain of salt. I went on and on talking about how different people say different things. We hear it all the time. One person telling you that God told him when the ISX opens and when the auction started up, the rate change will happen, and then it didn't happen. And then, you hear something about, when the stock exchange hits 20,000, then it didn't happen. Or you hear somebody saying, hey, on the back screens, I see the numbers. And the military intel is telling him that it's going to happen tier 1, tier 3, and you got other ones. And you have another guy talking about, he's got the codes to unlock everything. And I told you guys that. To me, it sounds like bullshit. Now, whether you guys believe it, that's up to you. But I keep telling you that, there's people out there that say these kinds of things. So now I'm going to introduce somebody to you guys. This is Kimberly Gogen. And guess who Kimberly is? Well, let me put it this way. Guess what Kimberly says? Kimberly claims she has the codes to release and give the world its financial freedom. Yep. So you see, it isn't just one person saying it. Here is another. And I'm going to play a little bit so you guys can see what they're saying.
Within the trust is every major trust for every major bank in the world. And this is the entire off-ledger system. So currently, the face of the banks are still somewhat, I say, loosely under control because everything that they have tried for the past.
What to say here? As soon as someone provides proof of what Kim, asked for a year and a half ago, names of the Chinese elders, and proof of the running of the QFS, which they all have banked their lives on, Kim, will provide proof of my capacity.
7 years has failed miserably. They have tried to hack the trust hundreds of thousands of times, nonstop, every day, in some way, shape, or form. Every single time that they said there was going to be a currency revaluation, they always tried to hack the trust to bring down assets. They've never made it past the first firewall. So that is the system that she controls.
Here we go again. Every random person, and there's some random people out there, I'm talking about, claiming to have access to the heritage accounts, the historic assets, or any of the major trust accounts has been given the opportunity to enter their codes into the proper terminal and bring funds into the financial system, except Kim. So those people out there claiming to have the codes are lying. Or are they? Because Kim's claiming she has the codes, and this is saying that people who had the codes were already offered opportunity. So when you hear this other YouTuber and his buddy telling he has the codes and he's just waiting, what do you mean? It's telling you right here that people have already had the opportunity to enter the codes. None of them have been successful. So then if everybody's being offered the opportunity, why haven't they done it? What's the excuse? And what are you waiting for? Enter the damn codes. Kim supposedly has the codes?
Currently, after, just in the past year, I've been part of billions of dollars of transfers that has exposed the entire banking system. We literally have it on film from the transfer room when Bank of America.
The Chinese elders, because they get brought up all the time too, the Chinese elders version of their alleged quantum financial system lasted around 12 minutes the last time it was launched before the real quantum system shut it down completely. So I guess we have competing quantum financial systems and we're unaware of it.
We transferred $180 million in, and they sat there trying to figure out and concoct how they were going to steal the money.
Kim offered to enter the codes into the system at the same time as anyone else on the planet to prove who has the authority over the assets of the planet and the quantum system. To date, no one has dared take her up on the offer. Hey, Mike, why don't you go out there and take Kim up on her offer? Why aren't you entering the codes? What's the hold up there, buddy? If you have legitimate access to the codes, because according to these people here, somebody else does. You say you do, they're saying Kim does. They're calling out all liars that claim to have codes to go on ahead and try to enter it into the quantum financial system. So what is the holdup? Do you see what I'm telling you guys about? There's all kinds of people that make all kinds of claims. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean Mike doesn't have the codes. But it doesn't make no sense to me. That doesn't mean Kim has the codes, but it doesn't make no sense to me. So the thing I'm trying to say is this. I get that you guys listen to other people, but sometimes you have to take a step back. As a human being, and I see all this suffering happen around the world. And you mean to tell me there's a freaking banking system right now that's running where all you have to do is enter codes and it would free everybody? And we're just sitting around here with our thumbs up our ass? Does that make sense to you? So here it is, calling look at this, it says calling everybody who claims to have a code. So obviously Mike ain't the only one. There's tons of people. That's the point I'm trying to tell you guys. You hear this all the time, the Chinese elders, the back screens, the tiers 1, the tiers 3s, the 800 numbers, the redemption centers. This person has codes. Well, Kim here has codes too. So who do you believe? Who are you to believe? And does it make sense to you?
I've watched them do this several times. I've had money confirmed in our accounts, and then just to have them try to steal it. They cannot steal it. Kim just pulls it back. They don't have the ability to steal from her.
So here's my thought on this. The what if. So let's say Mike has the codes, or Kim, either one. And they're supposedly the only people with the codes. What happens if something happens to them? God forbid, but I'm just saying. And they are no longer amongst the living. What does that mean? Does that mean everybody now is ass out because they didn't put the codes in? Is that what's going on? How does that work? How do you get selected to be the chosen one?
But because the face of the banks have been controlled by this nefarious cartel of bankers, and also they have MS-13 / Blackwater / whatever they're called now, mercenaries that are implanted in a lot of these banks. They're willing to do whatever it takes to make sure the money does not get to the people. Our sole mission and purpose is, as of 2012, they were given a 5-year extension. In 2017, the trust switched over to disbursement mode. They had until 2012 to basically turn the world into a one world government, essentially launching a genocidal agenda of some sort. And by 2017, they completely failed. They were given a 5-year extension. Since 2017, the trust has been in disbursement mode. and she has overcome most of the major world obstacles in that time. So now, the way the current system is that all of the back doors have been closed. They can no longer siphon money off from anyone. They were siphoning off from every credit card transaction to every major transfer to just taking people's life savings. And for a long time, they would leave up mirrors. In the Wells Fargo system, all types of people had SKRs that were sitting there in mirrors, and they were never able to move them because they weren't real, because the real asset that backed them was removed.
So there you go. Again, not trying to piss all in your Wheaties, but when you guys bring this on in the group, I keep telling you, look, that's Ruth. Ruth claims to have the codes. Or Kimberly, I'm sorry. Kimberly, I keep saying Ruth for some reason. That's Kimberly. Kimberly claims to have the codes. Mike claims to have the codes. Other people claim to have the codes. It's like when you guys asked me about that postmaster phony, Russell J. Full. He ain't the only one claiming to be the postmaster. I showed Mark Christopher. He's claiming it too. So you see, you got all these types of people out there that make these types of claims with no proof. There's no proof whatsoever. All I'm saying to you is this. Now again, I want to make myself perfectly clear. I don't know Mike. Does he have the codes? Yeah, it's possible. But does it make sense to me? None whatsoever. It makes no sense. Why would anybody, including Kim here, why would they have the codes that can literally set the entire world free and just sitting there doing nothing? So after a while, if I was you, I would be pissed. Not at our politics right now, not at our media, not at president, who's running, none of that. None of that matters. You know you should be pissed at? The people who claim to have the codes and they're keeping you enslaved by not entering them. You should be pissed at them. What the hell are they waiting for? You can tell they don't have the codes, these magic codes, because they'll make every stupid excuse in the world. Free the people. They're calling you out in this article. Kim's calling you out there, Mike. She dares you to go try to put in your magical codes to see. Now here. Being in this game for as long as I have, which isn't very long, but they're going to have excuses. They'll make every excuse in the world why they're the ones who's legit and the other people are fake and why they can't release the codes, blah, 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 and so on and so on. That's what I mean. Just why don't we try to talk about what I can prove? It's easy to speculate and come up with these stories about aliens coming down to talk to you and talking to the new elites and the old elites. Yeah, okay. And they tell me Pimpy has got a ball. Anyways, you guys, look. I just wanted to share this. You need to be careful. Does Kim have the codes? Maybe. Does Mike have the codes? Maybe. Are there codes? Maybe. But what the hell are they waiting for? How was it the word that I wanted to come out of my mouth? As what the F? Right now, the entire world is in shambles because of this pandemic. The Great Reset is trying to force the entire world into a one world government, one world socialist economy. What the hell are these guys waiting for? By putting in the codes and releasing the money, without a doubt, would end any agenda that the New World Order had. They could never ever go back to the old ways because once the people have the money, there's no way in God's green earth they would release it or give it back up. Not without raising holy hell and lynching a load of corrupt people. All right, you guys. So that's what I just want to share this with you because again, I can see when stuff gets announced, it goes through the Facebook group like wildfire. All right. So you let me know who's telling the truth. Who's got the codes? Is it Mike out there got the codes? Does Kim have the codes? Does anybody have real codes? Let me know what you think. All right, you guys. That's it for now. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later.